If you were still here watching this, then listen carefully, because what you are about to hear can either completely change the direction of your life or make you realize why you have been stuck in the same place for years. And I want you to stay till the end, not because I'm forcing you, but because somewhere deep inside, you already know that your life is capable of something much bigger, something better, something powerful. And today, I'm not going to talk to you like a teacher. I'm going to talk to you like a mirror. Because this is not just another motivational video. This is a wake-up call for your habits, your mindset, and your entire way of living. And the foundation of everything I'm going to tell you is inspired by one of the most powerful personal development philosophies ever created, based on the idea that success is not an accident, it is a system. And the person who understood this deeply was Stephen R. Covey, the author of the world-famous transformational book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. And what you are about to understand is not just theory, it is a way of living that separates those who struggle their entire life from those who slowly build an unshakable life of discipline, clarity, and success. And the first truth you must accept is this: your life is currently a reflection of your habits, not your dreams, not your intentions, not your wishes, but your daily habits, because habits are the invisible architecture of your future. And most people never realize how powerful this truth is. They think success is about motivation, but motivation fades, habits remain, and this is where everything begins. The first shift you must make is from reacting to life to taking responsibility for life. Because most people live like passengers. They blame circumstances, they blame family, they blame society, they blame luck, but they never take ownership of their choices. And until you stop reacting and start taking responsibility, nothing in your life will change.
And this is the first principle of becoming effective in life: learning to be proactive instead of reactive. It means that no matter what happens around you, your response is always under your control. And this single shift can change your entire identity, because when you realize that you are not controlled by situations, but by your decisions, you stop living like a victim and start living like a creator of your own life. And once you step into this mindset, the next thing you must understand is that everything you want in life is created twice. First in your mind, and then in reality. And most people fail because they skip the first creation. They want success without clarity. They want results without direction. They want progress without planning. But life does not work that way. Every strong building starts with a blueprint, and your life is no different. You must first clearly define who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve, because achievement without identity is temporary, but identity shapes everything. And this is where most people lose themselves. They chase goals without defining values. They run behind money without building character. They follow shortcuts without building discipline. And slowly, they become successful in imagination, but empty in reality. And that is why you must begin with the end in mind. You must ask yourself, who do I want to become in the next 5 years? What kind of person do I need to be to live a life I respect? And once you define that image, you start aligning your daily actions with that future version of yourself. And slowly, your life begins to shift in a direction you once only imagined. And now let me tell you something even more powerful. The biggest difference between successful people and average people is not intelligence, not talent, not resources. It is consistency in small actions. Because success is not built in big moments. It is built in small, repeated decisions that most people ignore, like waking up on time, like keeping promises to yourself, like finishing what you start, like saying no to distractions and yes to discipline. And these small habits slowly compound into a life that looks extraordinary from the outside, but inside, it was just consistency repeated for years. And this is the hidden truth nobody talks about. Everyone wants transformation, but very few are willing to repeat boring actions long enough to see real change. And if you truly understand this one principle, your life will never be the same again. because you will stop searching for shortcuts and start respecting systems and routines. And this is exactly where real success begins. And if you are still listening, then understand this. You are already different from most people, because most people quit when things get uncomfortable. But you are still here, and that tells me something important about you, that deep inside you are searching for a life that actually means something. And now we go deeper into the second transformation, because once you accept responsibility for your life and you stop reacting to everything around you, the next question becomes, where are you actually going in life? Because a person without direction is like a ship without a compass. It may move fast, it may look active, but it will never reach a meaningful destination. And this is where most people silently fail. They are busy every single day, but not aligned. They are working hard, but not working right. They are moving, but not progressing. And the reason is simple. They never designed their life before living it. And this is the principle of beginning with the end in mind. It means you must first see your future self clearly before you even take your next step, because clarity creates power and confusion destroys it. And imagine for a moment if you knew exactly who you wanted to become, not just in terms of money or status, but in terms of character, discipline, habits, mindset, relationships, and inner peace. How different would your daily choices look? Because right now, most of your decisions are random reactions to emotions. But when you have a clear vision, every decision becomes intentional and powerful. And this is where real change begins, not in action, but in imagination. Because everything you see around you once existed in someone's mind first. And the same rule applies to your life too. And if you do not design your future, someone else will design it for you, and you will end up living a life that does not feel like yours. And once you understand this, the next step is even more important, because vision without action is just fantasy. And this is where discipline becomes the bridge between your imagination and reality. And discipline is not motivation. Discipline is not excitement. Discipline is doing what needs to be done, even when you feel like doing nothing. And this is where most people break. They start strong, but they cannot stay consistent because they rely on feelings instead of systems. And that is why successful people are not always the most talented people, but they are always the most consistent people. And consistency is built through small daily promises you make to yourself and keep without fail. Like waking up at a fixed time, even when you don't want to. Like studying or working, even when distractions are calling your name. Like choosing long-term growth over short-term comfort. And slowly, these small actions create a powerful identity shift where you stop seeing yourself as someone who tries and start seeing yourself as someone who does. And this identity shift is the real secret behind success, because once you believe you are disciplined, your actions automatically follow that belief. And now comes another powerful truth most people never realize. You are not influenced by what you know, but by what you repeatedly do. And your habits are silently shaping your entire future, whether you're aware of it or not. And this is why building the right habits is not optional, it is survival. Because every habit is a vote for the person you are becoming, and every small action is either building your future or destroying it. And the difference between successful people and struggling people is not in their dreams, but in their daily systems. Successful people design systems that work even when motivation disappears, and they understand that life is not controlled by big decisions, but by small, repeated behaviors. And if you start respecting your daily routines, even the smallest ones, your entire life trajectory will begin to shift, because success is not a sudden event. It is a slow accumulation of disciplined days. And now, I want you to think deeply about your own life. Are your current habits taking you closer to the person you want to become, or are they silently pulling you away from it?
because every day you either grow or you decay. There is no neutral ground. And this is the harsh truth that most people avoid. But once you accept it, you gain power, because awareness is the first step toward change. And when you finally become aware of your patterns, you stop living unconsciously and start living intentionally. And that is where transformation truly begins.
And now, if you are still here, it means something inside you is slowly waking up. Because real change never happens in noise, it happens in silence, inside your thoughts, when you start questioning your own life, your own choices, and your own patterns. And this is exactly where we move to the next level of understanding. Because once you have clarity of direction and you start building discipline, the next biggest truth you must learn is that your life is not defined by your intentions, but by your priorities. Because everyone says they want success, everyone says they want a better body, a better career, a better future. But very few people actually structure their life around what truly matters. And this is where most people fail. They confuse urgency with importance. They spend their entire day reacting to messages, notifications, distractions, and other people's expectations, but they never sit down and ask themselves, what actually matters most in my life right now? And this is where the principle of putting first things first becomes life-changing. Because if everything in your life feels important, then nothing is truly important, and you will always feel busy but never productive, and you will always feel tired but never fulfilled. And the truth is, time is not the problem, priority is the problem. And once you understand this, your entire life structure begins to shift. Because successful people do not do everything, they focus on the right things at the right time, even when it feels uncomfortable, even when it means saying no to things that are easy and comfortable. And this is where discipline meets clarity, because when your priorities are clear, your decisions become easier and your life becomes simpler. And simplicity is one of the most powerful signs of success that people rarely talk about, because confusion creates chaos, but clarity creates direction. And when you start living by priorities instead of pressure, you begin to notice something powerful happening inside you. Your mind becomes calmer, your actions become sharper, and your energy stops being wasted on meaningless things and instead gets invested into things that actually build your future. And now let me take you deeper into something even more important than productivity, and that is relationships. Because no matter how successful you become alone, success without strong relationships will always feel empty and incomplete. And this is where the next principle becomes important. Think win-win, not just for yourself, but in every interaction, every relationship, every deal, every conversation. Because most people are trapped in a mindset of competition. They believe that life is about winning at the cost of someone else. But the truth is, real success is not about taking from others, it is about growing together. And when you adopt a win-win mindset, you stop seeing people as obstacles and start seeing them as opportunities for mutual growth. And this shift changes everything. Because your relationships improve, your communication improves, your leadership improves, and suddenly you're not just growing individually, you're growing socially.
And emotionally. And this is what makes success sustainable. Because isolated success always breaks down, but shared success becomes stronger over time. And this is something most people never realize. They chase success thinking it is a solo journey. But in reality, success is deeply connected to trust, cooperation, and understanding. And once you build that mindset, your entire environment starts changing because people naturally want to work with those who bring value, not ego. And this brings us to another powerful truth. Emotional intelligence is far more important than intelligence itself. Because your ability to understand yourself and others will decide how far you go in life, more than your academic knowledge or technical skills ever will. And when you start listening more than you speak, when you start understanding more than you react, when you start responding instead of overreacting, you begin to build a version of yourself that is calm, powerful, and deeply respected. And this is where transformation becomes visible, not just in your results, but in your personality. Because people start noticing a change in the way you carry yourself, the way you speak, the way you think, and the way you respond to pressure. And slowly, you stop being just another person trying to succeed, and you start becoming someone who naturally attracts success through discipline, clarity, and emotional strength. And now, as we move forward in this journey, you must understand that everything you're learning is not just information, it is a mirror showing you who you are right now and who you are capable of becoming if you choose to change. And that choice is always yours every single day.
And if you are still watching this, then something very important is happening inside your mind. Because now you are not just listening to words, you are comparing them with your own life. And that comparison is where real transformation begins. And now we enter a stage that most people never reach because it requires maturity, patience, and the ability to think beyond yourself. And this is the principle of synergy, which means that when people with different strengths, different ideas, and different perspectives come together, they can create something far greater than what any one person could create alone. And this is the exact opposite of what most people believe, because most people think difference creates conflict. But in reality, difference creates power if it is handled with understanding and respect. And when you learn how to value other people's ideas instead of rejecting them, you start unlocking a level of growth that is not possible in isolation. Because real success is not built in isolation, it is built in collaboration and cooperation. And this is where your mindset must shift from competition to contribution. Because when you constantly try to compete with everyone, you limit yourself to comparison. But when you start contributing value, you expand your influence and your opportunities. And this is a powerful shift, because life is not just about how much you can achieve alone. It is about how much value you can create with others and around others. And once you understand this, your entire perspective on relationships, work, and success begins to change, because you stop trying to prove yourself and start trying to improve situations and people around you. And this is what separates average individuals from truly impactful individuals. And now there is another layer deeper than synergy, and that is continuous growth. Because no matter how much you learn, no matter how far you go, if you stop growing, you start declining. Because life is never static. You are either evolving or you are slowly falling behind. And this is where the idea of sharpening the saw becomes essential, which means that you must continuously invest in yourself mentally, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. Because a dull mind cannot create sharp decisions, and a tired body cannot support a strong vision, and a negative emotional state cannot build a positive life. And this is why self-renewal is not optional, it is necessary. And most people ignore this because they think they are too busy to take care of themselves. But in reality, being too busy is exactly the reason they're not growing. Because without renewal, everything you are building slowly becomes weaker and less effective. And when you start dedicating time to improve yourself, even in small ways, like reading, thinking, reflecting, exercising, or simply disconnecting from distractions, you start noticing a powerful shift in your energy, clarity, and confidence. And slowly, you stop reacting to life and start designing it. And now, if you combine everything you have learned so far, responsibility, vision, discipline, priorities, relationships, synergy, and self-renewal, you will realize something very powerful, that success is not one big action, it is a system of habits that shape your entire identity. And once your identity changes, your results have no choice but to change. And this is the hidden truth behind every successful person. They did not wait for motivation. They did not depend on circumstances. They built systems that supported their growth, even when they felt weak, even when they felt tired, even when life was not in their favor. And that is why they became who they are today. And now the final realization is this: you are not stuck. You are not lost. You are simply repeating patterns. And the moment you interrupt those patterns with awareness, discipline, and intention, your entire life begins to shift in a direction you never thought possible. And the only question left is, will you continue living the same way, or will you finally decide to become the person you already have the potential to be? Because the truth is, everything you are searching for already exists inside you. It just needs to be activated through action, through discipline, and through consistency. And the moment you decide that, your life will never be the same again.
And now, you have reached the final stage of this journey. But in reality, this is not the end of anything. This is the beginning of a completely new way of thinking. Because if you have truly listened carefully, not just with your ears, but with your mind and your awareness, then you already know that everything you were searching for outside was never really outside. It was always inside you, waiting to be activated. And the truth is, most people never reach this realization because they keep waiting for the perfect moment, the perfect motivation, the perfect situation. But life does not work on perfect moments. Life works on decisions. And the decision you make in this very moment is more powerful than anything you have ever done before. Because it is not about what you know, it is about what you apply. And if you continue to live the same way, nothing will change. But if you choose to apply even a small part of what you have understood, your life will begin to shift in ways you cannot even imagine yet. And this is where everything comes together. The idea of responsibility, the clarity of vision, the power of discipline, the importance of priorities, the strength of relationships, the harmony of synergy, and the necessity of continuous self-growth. All of these are not separate ideas. They are one single system that builds a powerful human being from the inside out. And when this system becomes part of your identity, you stop chasing success, and success starts following you. And now I want you to understand something deeply personal, because this is not just about motivation anymore. This is about your life, your future, your choices.
And the version of yourself that is either being built or destroyed every single day through your habits and your decisions. And the uncomfortable truth is, there is no neutral life. You are either moving forward or falling behind. And every day you delay change, you are choosing the same future again and again without even realizing it. But the moment you become aware of this pattern, you gain power, because awareness is the first step toward freedom. And once you are aware, you can no longer lie to yourself in the same way. And now, imagine a version of you just 1 year from today. If you started applying discipline, if you started respecting your time, if you started focusing on what truly matters, if you stopped reacting and started creating, if you started building your habits instead of breaking your promises to yourself, imagine how different your confidence, your energy, your mindset, and your opportunities would be. And that version of you already exists. It is not a fantasy. It is a possibility waiting for your action. And this is the moment where everything becomes real. Because knowledge without action is just entertainment, but knowledge with action becomes transformation. And now I want to tell you something very important. If you are still here listening, then you are not average, because average people never stay this long. They scroll, they skip, they quit. But you stayed. And that means there is something inside you that refuses to settle for an ordinary life. And that is your greatest strength. But strength without direction is wasted. So now you must give that strength a direction. And that direction is growth, discipline, and consistency. And if you do that, your life will never be the same again. And before this ends, I want to leave you with one final thought. You are not behind.
You are not too late. You are not broken. You are simply one decision away from a completely different life. And that decision starts today, not tomorrow, not next week, not someday, but now. And if this message connected with you, even in the smallest way, then do not let it end here, because this is not just a video. This is a beginning. And if you want more content like this, more powerful ideas, more life-changing perspectives, then subscribe to this channel, because we are not here to waste time. We are here to build minds, to build discipline, and to build a better version of you every single day. And remember one thing clearly: your future is not decided by what you wish. It is decided by what you do repeatedly. And the moment you start doing the right things repeatedly, your future will start changing automatically. And I will see you in the next one. But until then, stay focused, stay disciplined, and start becoming the person you were always meant to be.
If you found this video helpful, don't forget to like it. And for more such powerful and life-changing content, make sure to subscribe to the channel. I'll see you in the next video. Until then, stay happy, stay safe, and keep working on yourself.